Hi Mashraf, it's Ollie here from roastmylandingpage.com. Thank you so much for booking a roast with me, which I'll complete for you now. Or I should say congratulations for winning a free roast. But either way, I'm going to work through your landing page and give you some advice on turning more of your visitors into customers. So how a roast works is, first of all, I'm going to review the answers you gave me to the questions that I pose. This helps me understand a little bit more about your buyer. It helps me understand the problems that they have, which is really critical when creating a high converting landing page. And it helps me start to paint a picture of the type of landing page I would build if I was building a high converting landing page for this buyer and product. So I will work through those with you, kind of riff off of them, give you my thoughts and feelings, and then I'll go over to your landing page and give it a roast. When I roast, generally the advice falls into two categories. It is constructive advice, by the way. It's not just roasting or tearing it down. The first type of advice will be things that I'll suggest that you should just change. Do this because I've seen a report, or it doesn't follow best practice, or the idea that you've done is good, but it isn't quite taking me through where it needs to. The others might be more abstract, or they might be around trying different things that should be tested. If you've got lots of traffic, you can test using split testing. If you don't have a lot of traffic, you should be using things like exit intent surveys, customer interviews, Google Analytics, looking in your chatbot for customer queries and questions, reviewing what frequently asked questions on your page are clicked, and just playing with other forms of quant-qual feedback to help you understand how it works. So some things you should test, other things you should just do. So your landing page URL is Sparrow the app, and you do have Google Analytics in place, but no goals. So the reason I highly suggest setting up goals is that we want to compare conversion from different channels, different geographies, different genders, different ages. So this is just about segmenting conversion by those different groupings and understanding, are there opportunities? A really common one immediately would be that you would find, for example, organic search outperforms Facebook paid. Does that mean you should do more on SEO versus paid? That's something you had to answer, but those are the types of questions that we want to create. The other thing is you will often see better conversion on desktop than mobile. So does that mean we target more people on desktop, or do we rework the mobile site? So first thing is to look at your analytics and understand how conversion varies dependent on these segments. You have a buyer persona of, sorry, let me read it because you've not directly answered it. I have been getting attention from early stage founders, but I want to target growth stage founders to my platform so they can get help on their pressing challenges. So forget why they'd come on and forget who you're getting attention from. Your ideal customer is someone who works in a growth stage company. They work in the role of founder. You haven't named an industry, you haven't really defined growth stage, but I'm assuming it's a scale up. So it's something like 5 employees to 50. Maybe the trigger for understanding them or reaching them is the fact that they just took a seed or a second seed. And generally, that's all we really need to know. Some people go into a lot of demographic stuff. I'm going to avoid that and just focus on the problems. Another thing that you can spend time thinking about is where this person hangs out. What communities are they part of? What is their job title on LinkedIn? What Twitter influencers do they follow? And this is because you can reach out to those places to market your content and market your product to them. So when it comes to problem, if they're early stage, they need to know if they're solving for the right audience problem, learning how to get their first 10 customers, iterating on their product. Between early to growth stage, this is the one you're more interested in. Marketing, sales, and growth. Okay, look, this isn't the way to approach this. The problem that they have is they have started to establish product market fit, and now they're panicked because they've got a round of investment coming in. They don't have the processes or the team in place. They're still seeing some issues on the sales flow, but on the product side, things are moving quickly. It's these types of things. So when you talk about hiring and operations, give me some emotional language. Let me know what's going on in the head of that founder. identify that problem so that we can start to talk to that problem. We can start to amplify that pain and we can address it. You're not sure what channels to use to attract them. This is a conversion focused roast. It's not about acquisition. It's about what you do when they're there. But actually, I tell you what to do right now. You identify this person, you find out where they hang out online. I call this an ecosystem document. What podcasts do they listen to? What communities are they active within? What other things influence them? Who do they follow on Twitter? What real world communities do they do? What memberships do they have? And you partner or create content within those spaces that your buyer will read to learn about you and will drive them through to your product. Also, there's just paid performance marketing. If they weren't using your solution, they would go to growthmentor.com or Mentor Cruise, or going to a startup incubators for mentorship. So they might join an incubator. They might also be watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. But if they very specifically understood, you know what, I need a mentor, then they would probably be going to one of these. Yeah, I see. Cool. So this is using a pain. The old way of finding growth and startup advice is broken. They're really amplifying the pain here. And then they're saying, here, look, if you feel this pain and now you feel it really acutely because you've just read a bunch of boxes that make you feel it more, why don't you look at the way we approach this challenge? Why don't you have a think about what we can offer? Building pain is a really common technique on a landing page because you want the person to go solution oriented. You want them to be like, help me, I want to come out of this painful experience. So you're writing here as though the person has already decided they want a mentor. They may not have yet decided that. So for those people, you probably want to educate them. These are people who are like, I feel out of my depth. I don't know where to turn. What options are available to me? Because having a mentor isn't the only thing they could do. They could also hire a freelancer. They could also pay for a course, or they could take a digital course, or they could upskill one of their team members. So part of what you want to do here to build your audience and get more people through into your product or your service, in your case, is to really convince people that mentorship is an effective way to take your business and scale it. And once you've done that, you then want to say, and if you decided on mentorship, here's why you choose us. I just tweeted this next thing. I didn't mention you, but it's how are you unique versus your competitors. You put not too unique. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being super unique, I say I'm a 4. The question is, how are you unique, not how unique are you? And what I mean by that is, what makes you stand out? What if I was having a conversation with someone about the fact they should get a mentor, would your service uniquely do that no one else does? If you're just the same, if you don't have stronger mentors, if you don't have a better pricing policy, if you don't have a different philosophy over how the mentor and the mentee interact, then you are not going to stand out. You will be lost in these conversations. Your marketing messages won't cut through. So it's okay to be a 4 out of 10 on uniqueness, but I need to know what makes up that 4, and we need to be hammering that. That means you won't be for everyone. You're definitely, no one is for everyone. No service is for everyone. You definitely want to accentuate your USPs. When I talk about philosophies, I'm talking about groupings of decisions that you've made around product, around positioning, and why you chose them. Why did you choose to build your business in a certain way? And how is that valuable to the user? You want them to click the pretty purple button to have a 20-minute discovery call. I hope it has high contrast, because buttons with high contrast do get more click-throughs. With discovery calls, it's important to frame, this is what you're going to get on the call. This is what you're not going to get. Here's how you're going to get value even if you don't sign up. And make sure that the language around the discovery call is focused on the discovery call itself and not the service. You're on the call with them, get them into your service. You don't remember how you heard of me, which is fine. And then beyond your landing page, I'd love to know your thoughts on where the growth stage companies or funded companies are hanging out, and B, where their intuition says to go to help. Please answer from your past experience chat with founders that you're 100% sure are true. Oh, I'll try. Basically, I just sat down and wrote I would Google things like, where do these people hang out? I would actually say communities for founders. Where do high growth founders, top 10 for high growth founders struggling? And lots of people had already made lists. I would go into them, I would check, and I would work it out from there. The other thing is, I found that for the growth founders, you really need to be connecting with the incubators and accelerators. So when roastmylandingpage.com got featured in a Y Combinator private forum, that was when I got about 15 bookings immediately, because these are all people with some funding. They are interested in growth. They are competent enough to understand, or knowledgeable enough to understand the value of CRO. And then they went through and booked me. Finally, on this, I just want to apologize for the delay. I'm not sure if I did at the start, but I did contract COVID. I was then assaulted on the street. I don't know why I'm laughing. It wasn't very fun, but I did intervene, and I feel good about that. And thank you for your patience. Basically, I've been catching up, and I'm almost there now. So let me work through your landing page. First of all, I might give you my first impressions, or I might just go straight into roasting, but let's go to that now. Right, so here we are on the landing page. We've got it's not really a landing page, it is a home page. I wouldn't overthink the differences, but traditionally a landing page doesn't have links. It's really, really conversion focused. You might have a form right here in the hero, but I think for most startups, the landing page and homepage are the same thing. One, because they don't have a landing page versus homepage strategy, and two, because you don't really need to explore much more outside of conversion on your homepage. Most startups are very conversion focused in the early days. Enterprise businesses don't need to focus their website on being conversion focused. They can build pages for that. So Sparrow Advisors work with you to solve your deepest startup challenges. One-to-one personal conversations with the greatest minds in entrepreneurship. So if I was going to talk about a USP, here we've got a claim that you've got the greatest minds in entrepreneurship. And on the right, you are trying to demonstrate that with these two people, which is the person here from SoundCloud and the person here from GoTenor, and you've got the revenue figures. So I'm assuming, and I think I'm right, that these people are on the platform and are accessible to your mentees if they sign up. What I would say is there's nothing to act on here. There's no social proof in terms of testimonials or client logos. Traditionally, in this hero space, we are going to see the first call to action. Saying that, sometimes you do need a bit more info. So here, it just says one-on-one personal conversations. There's no pricing. There's no structure. No clear explanation of how that works and how you match people. So maybe it is too soon for a call to action. It is traditional to have one in a hero. Next, we've got 1 out of 3 founders mentored by successful entrepreneurs become top performers. Okay, and then we've got 83% versus 16% increase in revenue for mentored versus non-mentored founders. So here you are doing the education on the potential mentee. You're basically saying to people, are you struggling with your startup? You should consider a mentor because you're going to get better success. So this is quite a smart angle, and you might want to expand on that. But the problem with this is a lot of words, and all of these words are just not structured or signposted in a way that makes it clear what you're trying to tell people. In other words, it all blends together into a mass of text. The information architecture is poor. So you could start here with something like the challenge faced by scaling entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs or founders running scaling businesses. And then say that a large number of them fail. And then you want to introduce this theme of how mentorship can help. So that's like the other landing page. It did the pain and then it went into the solution. But here you're maybe flipping that and you're focusing on the benefits first. Our vetted advisors led leadership roles, generated millions in revenue, raised several rounds of funding, and had successful exits. Okay, you're telling me, you're not showing me. Here you're showing me a bunch of advisors. You're giving me their credentials. A module here with the advisors and linking it to the companies they come from would be so much more powerful. Ultimately, I feel like in a mentee-mentorship dynamic, it's a professional services dynamic. It's like picking a lawyer or picking a exercise coach or a therapist. It's really about the person. So creating rich profiles for these people and showing me these people rather than talking about them in the abstract sense is going to bring this product to life. I do think that in this space, the only USP really is the mentors, the pricing potentially, and how that relationship is run. How does that actually work? Does that mean 1 hour a week? Do they WhatsApp me versus do we have calls? Is it more handheld? What is the financial exchange here? Those are the things where some USPs can come about. Outside of that, it is just who the mentors are. Our areas of expertise: growth, product, and fundraising. I don't think this needs a whole area. And then it says, speak openly with get tailored, honored advice. Speaking openly with mentors has saved founders many hours as they learn to avoid costly mistakes through trial and error. Why spend thousands of dollars building the wrong product when you can have someone vet your approach first? Yeah, we're drifting back and forth between like pain, benefits. This traditionally would probably have been better further up before then going into why get a mentor and who your mentors are. It seems like you're kind of dancing around like, here's some of the pains, here's some of the benefits, here's some more pains, here's some more things to consider. Again, you've done that here because you're trying, I love the visual, I love it, but you're trying to show a visual of the difference between with and without guidance. But you were doing that here. Where was it? Here. So you're kind of starting to introduce a service and then refocusing on the pain. How your team benefits from mentorship, learning instantly. Sorry, but okay. I would probably use bold than an underline because it's going to drive me to click. It feels a bit salesy, but that's just a personal thing. Learning instantly from the years of experience of advisors helps you optimize your decision-making process. When an advisor holds you accountable, you are more likely to work towards tougher goals. 70% of mentored founders survive for 5+ years, double the rate of those who do not receive the guidance. There's a lot more educational stuff coming through here, a lot of messaging that kind of seems to be true. It doesn't really seem to have that much evidence. You're not really proving it, but I can broadly agree with it. What I'm not getting is any granularity over what your service actually looks like in practice. You know, if I sign up now, what form will it take? If it's totally customizable, maybe you need to talk about that. But at the moment, I've not really got into a reveal. All I've got is that you've got mentors. This is really cool. You've got some testimonials. So talking to other people inspires ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise had. Sparrow connects me with experienced leaders in their field. Gaston advice on acquiring users based on his Uber Eats experience was actionable. Can't wait to explore more opportunities with Sparrow. So this is really cool. This is evidence of the claims that you're making in the form of testimonials. It's third-party proof. I don't like the testimonials because they don't have pictures. It would be really nice to have a picture maybe of the mentor and the mentee. I think the text rolls in, it's not scannable, so the information architecture is poor again here, but conceptually testimonials are really strong, and I would probably put them in the hero or some sort of social proof in the hero. Anyway, we now go into prioritize your personal growth today. Building a relationship with advisors who understand your startup's purpose can help your team reduce risks in your business model. Accelerate your team's progress through curated startup mentors and coaches. Yeah, this is just buzzword bingo. So it just doesn't speak in a very specific, clear way. There's some research from Unbounced that really focuses on using plain and simple language. I just want plain language here. I don't get why now you're talking about personal growth, reducing risk. It's different language, I think, and you're talking and framing it really about the team now, whereas before it was always the mentee mentor dynamic. So I'm a bit thrown by this. It's inconsistent with the messages here. I would be like, are you ready to grow your business? Pairing with the right mentor will see your growth accelerate and your business challenges faced mindfully. We can connect you to 50 mentors from leading companies. Just click help me grow, and then maybe address some doubts like, no commitment, 20-minute call, mentor mentee relationship within a week, start growing your business and stop worrying about your challenges kind of thing. So help me grow. Okay, it goes up through to this. I don't like that it's coming from Sparrow. I'd much rather it was human. And here, I think you want to give people structure. So this is it says 20-minute call, but we will cover exactly how the Sparrow service works, advice from 3 of our leading mentors that we'll share with you directly on the call, and we will discuss your specific challenges without doing a sales pitch. This just floats nowhere. I'm not quite sure why that's there. It's just not really how you would normally end it. Traditionally, you're going to see a footer here. You have some issues that you've talked about, which is understanding who's coming on the site and how to convert them. One thing I would look to do, because it is a concierge service, is probably have a chatbot and have that chatbot ask an active question. An active question would be something like, how do you currently seek business support? Because then they're going to answer it. I did that recently with a client. We took a passive thing, which was, let me know if you've got a problem. And we switched it to an active question. We got double the conversion on the chatbot. So I would highly recommend that. I would also consider an exit intent. If people go to leave, what can you ask them about their business or about their intent on the site that helps you improve the landing page? So those are a few things that I would look to introduce. But this Calendly, it's a click there. The first time you have the call to action, is it there? And it's not find my mentor. I mean, that's the broader thing, but it's book a call, a discovery call is really what that call to action is. And then you've used a different language for the call to action there. And also you've used purple for the call to action. It's a high contrast color, but you've also got blocks of purple elsewhere on the page, which potentially undermine the uniqueness of the call to action. These are smaller details. Normally, I'm just going to quickly have another look here. Yeah, I mean, look, there's not lots and lots of them, but the ones that you would want to reach out to are people who got recent investments. So I would go on Crunchbase, I think it's called, where you can see all of the companies that got investment, and I would reach out to them, and I would create content in my content marketing flow that is specifically for the types of challenge in the scaling space. How to hire your marketing team, how to cope with stress and frustration or burnout as your company and your startup grows, horror stories and success stories from scaling businesses, because that will appeal more to the scaling business persona than it will to the early stage indie hacker persona that I think you're saying you get a little bit too much interest from, and you're really focusing more on that person that's further along. But the other thing I would say is I could read your page 5 times and still not really understand what you're actually selling. And so why would I go on a call with you? I understand that you're going to connect me with a mentor, but all of the granularity of how that looks over the first month and the first year doesn't really come through. Let's have a look here. Right, these should be on your homepage, because it is about these people. You have done some interesting stuff here with highlighting some of their USPs. It would be nice to bring in a more broad range of people, and I'm talking about diverse backgrounds, not just white men, I mean, of which I am, but it would be nice to see different types of face. Okay, as we scroll down, I kind of see it. Weirdly, I didn't see that there was movement from the page here, so I don't know why I didn't scroll the whole way down, but maybe there's just too much white space. This categorization of them, battled hardened founders versus lean startup coach versus niche experts, feels a little bit arbitrary. I wonder if you should focus it more on the types of challenge people have: growth, culture, acquisition cost too high, just things that are very specific and talk to the pains. And although you have done really well in talking of the benefits of mentorship, I don't really feel I ever got a real pain that was explicit and purposefully written. So you have said, it's going to save you time and you'll avoid mistakes, but it would be really nice if it was quite granular. So let me show you on Growth Mentor, and then I'll wrap up. So grow your startup with one-on-one advice from Growth Mentors. So it's very much focused on growth. Have one-on-one conversations about growth marketing and everything in between with the world's top 3%. So they're using the language here of this is evidence they're the best, right? Because we got the top 3%. They're not even backing it up, but it seems legit, right? And then over here, they really have a focus on these are the people you're going to match with. On the left, It's quite interesting because they kind of address what you're about to get and what you're not going to get. So it really frames before you sign up, like some more explicitly, you don't do this anywhere. So this is something you should do. This is nice. It shows you logos of the companies people come from, which I enjoy if we look at the credibility of these companies. But look, blog posts and courses are useful, but at the end of the day, they can't give you the personalized advice. Yes, that's so stressful. I keep reading blogs, but I'm not reading personalized stuff. Relying on trial and error is the fast track towards making costly mistakes. Social media groups are abundant with either contradicting opinions or thirsty sales pitches. Consultants and coaches are expensive and only give you the viewpoint of one person. So one thing I like about this, it really looks at the alternatives. What would you do if you weren't doing this? It actually doesn't talk about the pain of feeling alone and not knowing what to do. It's more focused on you're probably doing X, Y, and Z and it doesn't work. Here's an example of a before and after that I quite like. It is for a SaaS product. But before, projects feel scattered, things slip, it's tough to see where things stand and people are stressed. After, everything's organized in one place, you're on top of things, progress is clear, and a sense of calm sets in. To be honest, you could use this exact language on your landing page before a mentor. You know, growth is stalled, you're a bit confused on what to do next, your investors are breathing down your neck. Afterwards, you've got a clear plan, you've learned from the best, you feel that your business is operating productively, you're happy, you're peaceful. So this is some language you can play with that's more emotional before going into the specificity. Anyway, that's my thoughts on your page. I think there was a lot there, and I would love to hear your feedback. I really hope it was useful to you, and thanks for booking a roast. Cheers.